Hey, also welcome back. We're jumping into part 2 of 1 Samuel chapter 8. Last time we saw Israel ask for a king, not because God failed them, but because they wanted to be like everyone else. Sound familiar? Yeah, if we look inside, we're a lot like that. Now, Samuel's about to tell them exactly what that decision is going to cost. All right, let's walk through it verse by verse. All right, we're in verse 10 and 11. Samuel told all the Lord's words to the people who were asking for a king. He said, "These are the rights of the king who will reign over you. He would take your sons and put them to his use in his chariots, on his horses, or running in front of his chariots." There's a lot of hises there, isn't it? Samuel doesn't soften it. He tells them exactly what God said. And the first word that shows up over and over again, he will take. And that's the absolute theme. The king is not going to serve you. He's going to take from you. Your sons will be pulled into his agenda, his army, his battle, and his purposes. Verse 12, he can appoint them for his use as commanders of thousands or commanders of 50s to plow his ground and reap his harvest, or to make his weapons of war and the equipment for his chariots. Your sons won't just fight. They'll build his kingdom. They'll work his land. They'll make his weapons. This is about control. They're asking for security, but what they're really getting is ownership. Ownership over their lives. Verse 13, he can take your daughters to become perfumers, cooks, and bakers. So it's not just about the men. Your daughters too. They'll be pulled into service. Their lives, their time, their gifts, all directed toward who? The king. All right, verses 14 and 15. He can take your best fields, vineyards, and olive orchards and give them to his servants. He can take 1/10 of your grain and your vineyards and give them to his officials and servants. Now it hits their resources. So it was their sons, their daughters, now the resources. Your best, not your leftovers, your best fields, your best vineyards. And notice this, what God originally asked for in worship, that 10th, now the king takes for himself. What belonged to God gets redirected to man. All right, verses 16 and 17. He can take your male servants, your female servants, your best cattle and your donkeys and use them for his work. He can take 1/10 of your flocks, and you yourselves can become his servants. So this is the turning point, right? You yourselves can become his servants. So they wanted a king to lead them. They're about to become slaves to him. And you know what? That's what happens when we replace God with something else. We think we're gaining some kind of freedom, but we're actually handing over control. Verse 18, when that day comes, you will cry out because of the king you've chosen for yourselves, but the Lord won't answer you on that day. Man, and that is heavy. God says there's going to come a day when you regret this. And in that moment, there won't be immediate rescue. Why? Because they didn't drift into it. They chose it. All right, verses 19 through 20. The people refused to listen to Samuel. No, they said, we must have a king over us. Then we'll be like all the other nations. Our king will judge us, go out before us, and fight our battles. Even after the warning Samuel gave, they absolutely doubled down. No, we still want it. They want someone they can see, someone who will fight for them, someone who makes them feel secure. But here's what they're missing. They already had that in God. God had been fighting the battles the whole time. All right, verses 21 and 22. Samuel listened to all the people's words and then repeated them to the Lord. Listen to them, the Lord told Samuel, appoint a king for them. Then Samuel told the men of Israel, each of you go back to your city. So God gives them what they asked for. Not because it's best, but because they insisted. And this is one of the hardest truths in all of Scripture. Sometimes God will let us walk into what we keep choosing, even when it's not his best for us. He's a perfect gentleman. All right, let's land this right here. This chapter isn't just about Israel wanting a king. It's about the human heart. We say we trust God, but then we reach for something we can control. Something we can see. Something that makes us feel secure. And if we're not careful, we start putting that on the throne. Let me just say it like this. Anything you look to and say, I need this to feel okay, that's getting real close to the throne. And only God belongs there. Israel wanted a king, and they got one. But what they really needed was to trust the king they already had. Next time, we're going to see how God responds as he begins to raise up Saul. And we're going to learn real quick, just because something looks the part doesn't mean it has the heart. See you next time.